It's that human connection that a letter brings to you. And it's much different than texting somebody or sending them an emoji, because there's a connection between the brain, the hand, and the heart. They're all connected, and it shows on the importance of a letter if you wrote it. It takes time and effort to write a letter. I can't claim that I was around when Benjamin Franklin was our first Postmaster General, but I've seen at least 17 Postmaster Generals come and go in the period of time that I've been with the United States Postal Service. The most memorable mail moment I ever had was after a blind date in the early 60s when I was in the Navy. She got on the Greyhound bus, went back to San Francisco. I got on the train, shipped out from my submarine. We never saw each other again until a year and a half later, the week before she walked down the aisle to marry me. The entire courtship was through the mail. I was discharged from the Navy, we got married, we got on the Greyhound bus. I-80 was our honeymoon. And the first thing we had to do was look for a place to live. The next thing I had to do was find a job. So he sent me to the air mail facility to unload trucks. And then I moved on and I became a supervisor, and I was going to college at that time, and then I got my degree, and it was in English. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my writing. Lo and behold, I found a career, and I started working as a corporate communications guy, public information officer. Over the course of that time, there were some tragic events that occurred. Hurricane Katrina came through, and the hurricane had wiped out the entire neighborhoods and communities. I didn't realize how important mail was to individuals until they had lost everything. And my job was not necessarily to bring some sense of normalcy back to people, but to give them their options as to where they can get their mail. And we put up mobile units. People are going through some tragic times right now, and so you have to show some empathy, and you have to speak to them in that fashion. That's the way I approached it. We have 600,000 or so employees. We have 10,000 in the Bay Area alone, and each one of those is a unique story. Nothing gives me more satisfaction than to tell other people's stories, especially million-mile drivers. To be able to drive 1,000,000 miles without a fender bender, and that's worth remembering, and that's certainly worth a story. And I enjoyed writing those stories a lot. And we have a lot of people that retire that I think need to be remembered. The people that worked for us for 40, 50 years, not just myself. And I like to tell those retirement stories because they're very, very important. And I also like to tell stories that help extend our brand. It could be something like introducing a new product or a new service. I've dedicated or been part of the dedication of hundreds of stamps. Elvis Presley, Cesar Chavez, Martin Luther King, great civic leaders like that. And then of course we had the fun ones, Snoopy Peanuts cartoons, and we had some Halloween stamps, anything that pushes education in particular, like breast cancer awareness, anything that brings attention to a particular cause. What I love the most is to mentor people and to get them to see the value that they may not see in themselves. So if anybody wants to remember me, it's not how much white paper I pushed out or how many press releases or how many stories I got or how much ink I got. Did I make a difference in your life, and are you better off for knowing me? So that's the legacy I want to keep. This was a good ride.